feel like they're doing the same thing. So if I'm rotating my body and I'm making the golf club swing around me, they are one of the same motion. Meet that golf ball later in my arc and I'm going to finish low. I now get an angle of attack that's up because I'm meeting the ball late in my stance. I'm back from a really great trip out in Portugal, and I had a really interesting conversation on the range with my good friend Dyer, who was battling with his driver, and we wanted to give him some feels that made him really appreciate how the circle of the golf swing and the driver can be one and the same thing. And the feel for this was breathtaking. He drove the golf ball better than he's ever driven it before around the wonderful fairways of Quinta do Lago and Vila Moura. So please go down there and check out the golf courses in Portugal. They are super if you haven't done so. So what Dyer was really battling with was some shots that really ended up being a little bit cut out to the right, a little bit over the top. And you can see from my usual 4 numbers on the TrackMan here, we've got an angle of attack that's a little bit too much down. Hitting down on it with a driver, as you may or may not know, is not something that we really want to encourage. The club path was a little bit outside in, and the face to path, that's the biggie. The face to path is open at 11.9. That means that the face is pointing to the right of your path line, and you're going to see the ball bending away to the right. Now, what Dyer had in his setup was, first of all, and this is really tip number 1, and that's the ball was too far back in his stance. The ball was being played too centrally. And when the ball is played so centrally, it really means that the club meets it too much in the in part of the golf swing. Yes, I know that the TrackMan is saying that the club path is swinging outside in, but the further you make that ball strike in the back portion of your stance, you're really going to encourage that club face to be open. Strike it really from the inside. It's not the outside, but again, another big topic, that one. But ultimately, you're making too much of an angle of attack down. And all of these ingredients, the ball being met too early in the circle, the angle of attack down, really gives you that face to path value that's too open. So one of the things we did, we first of all got the ball further forwards in Dyer's stance, so much so that we moved it outside his left foot. So outside his left foot, which then meant that the golf ball could be met later in the arc, and now all of a sudden I've remedied the angle of attack. I've also had a slightly bigger improvement on the face to path value. The face to path value has now reduced from 11.9 down to 6.5. That means that the ball will have less bend to the right. For those eagle-eyed of you, you can see that ball is now drawn to the left, but it's only drawn to the left because I hit that one out of the toe. So that was the first change that we did to Dyer. And then what we got Dyer to do was physically make a golf swing where his through swing felt super low. And it goes against everything that you may or may not have heard out there. And that is that we want to finish high to make this club path inside out. We've got another way of making this path better for you, but we're going to do it first of all by making the through swing lower in the finish. So the ball is now going to go further forwards in the stance, like I said, outside the left foot. And then we're going to make a swing where we're going to feel like the club is now going to feel super low. It's going to make that right arm feel like it sits below my left shoulder. Now look at what's happened to the face to path value. The face to path value for the first time today has now become a negative value. It's gone from 11.9, 6.5 to now 1.2. The first change I made was that I moved the ball further forwards so that I could meet the ball with a face angle that is arcing back in. And when that club head is arcing back in, look where the face is going to start to meet the ball pointing left. If I meet the ball too back in the stance, yes, I'm swinging more from the inside, potentially, but the face angle is going to be meeting the golf ball looking to the right of target. So we've got the ball further forwards, and we've got Dyer finishing with a much lower through swing. The third change we made was really aiming up the right-hand side of the fairway. Now this goes against potentially you feeling like you want to aim to the right and swing to the right. I'm now asking you to aim to the right and now swing to the left. What we want to do with driver to maximize distance and power is to make the arms and the body feel like they're doing the same thing. So if I'm rotating my body and I'm making the golf club swing around me, they are one of the same motion, as opposed to trying to turn my body to the left and swing the club out to the right. Doesn't work out too well. Didn't mean to hit that. So when we swing out to the right and my body's turning to the left, they are two different directions of force. Why would you possibly want to do that? So now we've got Dyer's golf ball further forwards in his stance. He's now starting to make a flatter through swing, and we're now going to get him aimed up to the right. So I'm now aiming down the right wing. I'm going to meet that golf ball later in my arc, and I'm going to finish low. And all of a sudden, putting those three ingredients together, I now get an angle of attack that's up because I'm meeting the ball late in my stance. I'm now making the face to path value negative. -2, that ball has drawn back to my target. And because I've aligned the circle, I've aligned me down the right hand side, I've made the club path 4 degrees from the inside. They are 3 tips that I guarantee you will work. You might want to check out my grip series. The grip series up in the top right hand corner of your screen, because that will really give you an insight into how to hold the club. But I can't reiterate enough how important this right arm is in the through swing with driver. I see so often in so many golfers, the right arm is too high, it argues with the swing plane, and it really causes that club face to be left open and through the strike. So let's just hit one more of those to finish us off. Let's get ourselves down the right hand side, that ball further forwards, that finished position much lower, and before you know it.
If you're tired of paying too much for your premium leather golf gloves, head over to gxgolfgloves.com. These are gloves trusted by tour players and elite amateurs alike. Use my code GOODCOACHING to receive 10% off your next order. Go try them out. You won't be disappointed.
You'll be standing there hitting some beautiful little draws. Thanks so much for watching. Hopefully that's been some use. And that, my friends, is good coaching.